Welcome to Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima podcast, where we dive into real conversations that shape our professional and personal lives. I'm your host, Fatima Nash, and today we're exploring a topic that so many of us wrestle with, yet rarely discuss openly: imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough, like your success is a result of luck, or that you don't truly deserve your accomplishments? You're not alone. Imposter syndrome impacts high achievers, leaders, professionals at all levels, and even the ones who seem to have it all together. In this episode, we'll break down what imposter syndrome is, how it sneaks into our mindset, and most importantly, how you can push back against it. Together, we'll share insights, stories, and actionable strategies to help you embrace your worth and own your success. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima, focused on business tips. I have my girl, y'all. Me and Stephanie Fox, we go back like a decade. Stephanie and I worked together. I know we worked together, and she was managing me then, and she's going to help manage us today and give us some tips on business. Stephanie Fox, please introduce yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. It is so exciting to be here. I have been pumped up to be on this for some time, and it's awesome just to reconnect with you.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm Stephanie Fox. I am the owner of Fox Consulting, which is a full service digital marketing agency. I like to consider ourselves as a boutique agency. And what I mean by that is we're not this huge enterprise agency. We're very mindful with who we partner with, what companies we want to help. And our main focus is really around either web design and development and digital marketing. So paid media, SEO, content marketing, and really supporting businesses of all sizes within all industries. I like to say we're industry agnostic and we're a performance-based agency. So
wonderful. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You've been in the space a long time, and you've helped me as I led large enterprise organizations with workforce management. And so it has been awesome to kind of stay close to you throughout the years and see your growth. That's just awesome. I love when girls rock. Like, I just love it.
Me too. Me too.
Thinking about girls rocking, you know that I've had my bout of fake ass fraudulent feelings, and that's why the show is called Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima. Because I want entrepreneurs and business leaders to understand the importance of self-reflection, the importance of debunking sometimes your inside voice is inaccurate. And so was there ever a time in all of your success that you felt like, oh shit, I can't do this?
Absolutely. I mean, from childhood up until I entered into my career, trying to figure out what the heck do I want to do? What do I like to do? Mm-hmm. And making that transition from college into the workforce, right? And so honestly, imposter syndrome, it's such a fascinating topic. Mm-hmm. What I was thinking about today and what I wanted to talk about, I was really reflecting on my life, on my career, on my childhood, right? I was a collegiate basketball player. Mm-hmm. So I had all this pressure on me, be the best, work your ass off, right? You have to be number one or else you're not good enough. Mm-hmm. And that way of thinking really started at a young age, and it was ingrained in me when I entered into the workforce and throughout my entire career. Mm-hmm. So I think everybody experiences imposter syndrome, whether they want to admit it or not. Mm-hmm. And I really think that it starts with our programming and our belief systems, right? Mm-hmm. So what do I mean by that? Mm-hmm. Kind of take you through my thought journey here, but it really starts with when you're born, right? You have this pure consciousness. You're super joyful as a baby, as a kid, you're loving, you're unconditioned, right? And then we start to become tainted, right? This programming starts through our parents, through our teachers, through media, through friends, everybody that we're interacting with, right? And these thoughts get repeated. And then they become beliefs. And then this becomes who we think we are. right? So as a kid, I thought in my thoughts, I was like, this is who I am. This is who I need to be. Then social media, right? Like, holy crap about social media, how this magnifies all of these false comparisons. It highlight reels of like self-doubt and pressure, and I have to be a certain way, look a certain way, do certain things in order to be accepted or in order to be successful. And you're like, holy shit, I am not good enough.
Yep. 100%.
You know what I mean? And so this becomes louder. The voice in our head just starts screaming at us and it won't shut up. And so you start to really question yourself. And I think a lot of people face this, right? And you start to develop this false self, right?
Yep,
this false self. And this is the ego. And it's attempting to make you feel safe. And you start to write these stories and you start to feel lost. Right? Everyone kind of goes through this loss of identity, and it's our job collectively to start to integrate ourselves back into life once we start to do this reflection, right? Like you've done so much reflection. You know who you are, you know what you want, right? And then same for me. And so you start to kind of dissolve this ego, and you're not broken, right? Nope. You feel broken at certain times in your life. You feel that pain, or you feel like what you're doing is wrong, and you question yourself. But once you start to dissolve that, you start to really feel complete.
Yeah, agreed. Oh my gosh, I completely agree with that. And I don't know about you, but I think age played a part in it for me, the clarity, right? Like I didn't have the tools, the modalities, and all the stuff that I have now to combat all of this. But even without those tools, I think experience in life has taught me that you don't have to be perfect. People are going to judge you no matter what. You can only control what you can control. Put your mask on first, practice self-care, and focus on yourself. And that has been hard to still follow. I still struggle. But it has made me a very strong leader, but a really wise entrepreneur too. Like I really enjoy clearing out those cobwebs of fake feelings, grounding myself on what it is that I am trying to do and what I want the outcome to be. So yeah. Okay. So you've had an opportunity through your career to really self-reflect and do the work that you need to do to become the Stephanie Fox that you are. Talk to us about some of the setbacks that you might have had as you were trying to get on this journey.
Yeah, I would say some of the setbacks were really the misalignment that I had within my career. And I was always in marketing, always in digital marketing. And I liked that. I liked it a lot, but I struggled with either the leadership team or the product or the service, right? I wasn't super passionate about what I was either selling or marketing, right? And I just didn't have that alignment there. And so I think that was my setback. And also fear of failure and fear of, losing the job or not getting promoted and working towards somebody else's goal, to somebody else's desire. And it wasn't mine. So I think that misalignment there, I lost passion and I started to kind of lean into these talk tracks, right? I had as a young kid, my dad was always like, you got to get promoted. You got to, got to get to the next level. So I always had that mindset. I'm very determined. I'm very consistent and persistent in what I do, which has a lot of value, but it needs to be aligned with what I'm passionate about and how I want to impact this world, right? I think the biggest setback would definitely be my hesitation to do what I want and also understand what it is that I want. And I think that's super important. And taking that jump right into entrepreneurship and kind of ditching that 9-to-5, that corporate America job that I know a lot of us struggle with, right? And it's hard. But I think what we need to understand as humans is that you don't need to have 10, 15 years of experience to have something important to offer.
That's right.
We bring a uniqueness, we bring a type of energy, a value in everything that we do. And I think that's important for people to understand, because there's a hesitation there of starting a new business or leaping into a new industry that you're like, holy crap, I have no, but that's okay, right? Because I think if you're curious enough, if you're asking the right questions, if you're surrounding yourself with the right people, you will make an impact and you will be successful.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I love your point about the alignment, and it made me think of something. So when I was 16, my first job was Riley's Hamburgers, this little like shithole of a burger joint in Newport News, Virginia. And I remember arguing with management at 16 and coworkers about like how we drop fries. Like I will never forget, like this dumb shit, right? But even though at 16, I had no idea who I wanted to be when I grew up, but I did know I wanted strong processes. And I didn't like the process of how we went by dropping the fries. So fast forward that, I don't know, 30 something years, what I've learned about Fatima is that Fatima approaches everything like it's brain surgery. And that means that you're not aligned. No one cared about my stupid process with the grease and the fries, right? But my approach was always the exact same in every role I'd ever been in, is let's figure out why it's broken and let's figure out the process to get it fixed. And because I was misaligned, to your point, I'm arguing with them about dropping fries. That's not that energy was not required. I was not aligned with their goals, right? And so that's a good point to all, especially the women out there that are listening to this. We approach things very rhythmatically because of biologically how we're created. I believe that. And sometimes we go super hard on things that maybe we don't need to give that much emphasis because we're misaligned. We're in the wrong role. We're with the wrong person. We're with the wrong team. We're doing the wrong work. And so it's super important to be aligned. So thank you for sharing that. That is 100. I believe that 100%.
Yeah. No, I love that story. And I think that kind of dovetails into an interesting statistic that about this kind of misalignment or this worry or this fear. I was on an interesting call. My husband's actually starting a new business, and we were on a call this weekend with the owner of the company. And I thought this was fascinating. This made my head spin. So 85% of what we worry about never actually happens. 85% of what we worry about never actually happens. So these fears are stories that we're repeating over and over, and they're comfortable to us, right? This is like a normal feeling. So we think, okay, listen to this. We think between 60 and 70,000 thoughts per day. Holy shit, that's a lot of thinking. Our brain is nonstop, right? And about 90 to 95% of those thoughts are the same exact thoughts as the day before. Okay, so this is a reflection of how habitual and repetitive our mind is. So we have 60,000 thoughts, about 90% of them are the same exact thoughts that we were thinking the day before, and 80% of those repetitive thoughts are negative. Holy crap.
Oh my God.
Isn't that, it's nuts. It's nuts to really understand that. And honestly, it's just the more thought energy that we're giving them, the more powerful they seem and the scarier they become, right? So you have this talk track, I'm never going to start my own business. Oh my gosh, what if I fail? Right? Going. And then you believe it, and then it never happens, right? And you're limiting yourself because of this shitty talk track that's not even true. You know what I mean? It's not even true. Yeah. And so I thought that those numbers were just mind blowing, and also makes you just do a little bit more reflection on like, maybe just changing like 10 to 20% of your thoughts will really, really make an impact. So I thought that was pretty cool.
No, that is pretty cool. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's important for people to really understand the science in the facts behind the way that we operate. Because if you understood science and understood the facts behind the emotions, you would be able to debunk your feelings because it's just natural, it's human, and you would be able to navigate around those. And I have done, and we talked about this offline, but I've done a shit ton of work on myself over the last few years. Tons of therapy, tons of reading, tons of journaling, tons of meditation, tons of working out, tons of walking. Just I've like really shut the world out and really focused on me. And when doing that work, I realized that I just been lying to myself all these years. Like these fraud ass feelings, they're not real. They're just, to your point, the whatever the statistic you threw out there, the percentage of just negativity that you just breed every day. And it just, you remember the movie when we were kids, Gremlins?
Yeah.
Where, you know, you put the water on the gremlin, they like multiply. That's how I feel about my thoughts. They just,
well, that's what happens. That's what happens.
Multiply, yeah. And it's fake, y'all. They're all fucking fake ass feelings. So yeah, okay. So we're on your thought journey. So now you have been able to debunk your feelings through listening to your insides, focusing on being aligned. What else can you tell folks about being successful in business as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So I would say I recently started working with a mentor, and he shared his kind of 3 keys to moving through this imposter syndrome and really creating success. And so I really started to live by this and implement them in my daily life. So number 1 is incredible clarity. So what do I mean by that? And you alluded to this, but knowing what you really want. And people are like, oh yeah, I know what I want, right? I know what I want. Yeah, I want to get married and I want kids. No, know what you really want and understand your why. So your why should be so powerful that it pulls you forward. And so part of my practice and what I do every single morning, I write down what I want. I have different categories of what I want and then why I want it. And going through this practice and really thinking big and dreaming big enough that it scares the shit out of me. And people are like, yeah, right. That's how you want to think. Right. And so incredible clarity about what you want and why you want it is number 1. Number 2, and you can relate to this, is empowered learning, right? So committing to daily growth, whether it's, 15, 20 minutes of a podcast a day or reading a book, it's super important, right? Just immersing yourself in learning, and then seeking mentors. I have been so hesitant to ask for help, to ask for guidance. And the only way that you are going to be able to move in the right direction is by learning from the people who've already done it. And they are at a point in their life, usually, that they want to help you.
Absolutely.
It empowers them to see you living your life the way that you want to, and them helping you get there. So empowered learning is number 2.
Wait, before you go to number 3, let's go back to number 2. So why do you think we are hesitant to seek guidance and mentorship?
I think it's a really good question. I would say fear of rejection, right? And so, or you're lying to yourself that you need help. Everybody needs help. Everybody, whether it's, in your career or spiritually and emotionally, right? You have these billionaires, right? They are making so much money. They have checked all the boxes in their career and they aren't fulfilled. And now they're working with life coaches, yourself, to try and feel, to have a sense of purpose. They've been doing this job, running this business that they don't give a shit about. And they have been on this money journey, which is fine. But if you're not fulfilled in other areas of your life, like, what the heck are you doing?
No, you're exactly right. I agree with you. I feel like the number 1 reason in my past, and maybe now currently, I'm going to be honest, that I don't seek help is rejection for sure. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be rejected, but I'm nervous that you may think my idea sucks or
Mm.
what I'm doing is not going to work. And I'm already hella nervous about it. So you coming in telling me that will just blow me to smithereens. Now, I know that that's not proper mental health. Um, that's not how you should be thinking, but that's how I feel. So I've had to really like, I have a mentor in so the franchise that I acquired, the support that I have is probably more support than I've had collectively my entire career. Like these people are phenomenal human beings. And even though they're most approachable, most loving, most caring, I'm like, so I am going to do this campaign and I instead of, hey, so this is how this is gonna work, this is how blah 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 blah, like how I normally am. And it's because they've been doing this for so long and they're so successful. I'm so afraid, right?
Mm.
And there's no reason to be afraid. People,
Well, that goes back to my previous point is
yes,
no matter what, you don't need that experience,
that's
right?
right.
Because you're bringing
That's
your
right.
own
That's right.
flavor to the
That's
mix
right.
that they don't have.
That's
They
right.
don't have the Fatima energy
That's
that
right.
is your differentiator. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? And you
And it's
know what your differentiators are.
and it's so hard when you are selling yourself to feel 100% confident about your value proposition as an entrepreneur,
Mm.
especially if you are starting a business where it's just you for now. Like, I don't have, like, back in the day when we worked together, I can just buzz you and get on
Yeah.
the and be like, oh, this is going to be so fucked up. How are we going to get this survey out? What are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I had a thought partner. But
Mhm.
when you are an entrepreneur, you're like, just me. What am I supposed to
Mm.
do here? How am I supposed to
Yeah.
navigate? So that has been tough. But I love the point that you made about individualism and the individual value that I provide and others provide. Like someone else as a coach could have a value add that's different than me, but that doesn't make my value less. And it
Exactly.
takes so much conditioning here to be one with that. Like these teenagers, like you said, going on social media comparing themselves. It's the worst thing that you could ever do. And that's in essence what
It's not
I'm
even
doing.
real.
It's
It's
not
not
even
real
real.
though.
It's
It's not
not
real.
real though. No, you're exactly right. So anyway, okay, go to your point three because I can keep
Yeah.
derailing us.
Yeah. Well, one more thing in regards to, not having that huge team around you to support you, there are communities.
Oh yeah.
And you can talk to my husband, and he's like, Steph's talking about communities. Like, I would avoid it like the plague in the past, right? But with his new business, I'm like, wow, this is pretty powerful,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have like minded people
Mm-hmm.
that are working together
Mm-hmm.
collaboratively as a whole to move in the right direction. So maybe right now you feel as though you're alone in the launch of your business, the
Mm-hmm.
early stages of your
Mm-hmm.
business, but there's so many people
Yeah.
in that same position that you can bounce ideas off of, right?
Yes.
And so I
No,
think that
no, that's a good point. Yeah, no, you're exactly
pretty
right. And it's
pretty
just about
helpful.
going after it, right? When you work with people, it's very easy to just organically ping someone.
Mm,
And you have to go after it more so when folks are not in your organization directly. But that's what community is for, the chamber, groups, and like, all that stuff.
yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
exactly right. You're
And
exactly
it
right.
leads right into number three, which is massive action, right? So taking those bold steps that we're talking about, even if you don't feel ready. And I like to say you fail fast and fail forward fast, which is
Mm-hmm.
important. And don't wait until you feel confident. I actually don't really like using the word fail, but I know it's kind of like the lingo in that saying, because honestly, you're either learning or you're succeeding, right? And so every failure, if you don't look at it as a negative and you look at it as an opportunity of like, what the hell just happened? And what can I take away? Right. So maybe someone got fired from their job and they're like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. No, this is
Mm-hmm.
opening the door
For
for
something
your
else.
next move in
Mm-hmm.
life. Right. And so I
Mm-hmm.
like to have that mindset. I think it's super important. And then your belief just grows through your actions and your results. So
I love
those are my
that.
three. Yep. Clarity, empowered
Learning,
learning, and massive action.
learning. So what did you say? Learning or succeeding? Learning or
learning.
succeeding.
You're either learning or succeeding, or learning or growing. Yep.
Learning or growing. Learning or growing. Yeah, I love that. I I use failure a lot. And of course, I'm one of those programmers that we talked about at the beginning of our show, where I'm programming my kids.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. I have a pre-med student, and I can tell that I programmed him a certain type of way. And I don't know if that's too good or not. We'll see. But I have married myself to failure. And I've thought about it in very unhealthy ways that breed anxiety and breed discontent. And so I really like that. And it's really good for me to hear as, you know, a new entrepreneur that there's no such thing as failing.
Yeah, there
So I
really
love
isn't.
that.
There really isn't. And I really think a lot of it has to do with our energy, right? And I was talking to my mom the other day, and I'll use this example, but we're all made up of energy, right? Like everything is energy, right? I think we can all agree that. But I use this example because I think it's helpful for some people. I hope it resonates. But we're tuning into a radio frequency, right? If we want to reach, let's say, and this might not be for the younger crowd because I don't think people listen to the radio, but like hopefully people get it. But if you want to reach 100.3 FM, but you're stuck at 88.5 AM, I won't receive what I want, right? There's no way. There's no way. It is the wrong frequency. Same exact thing with our goals. So let's say you want to run a multi-million-dollar business. You want to buy a beach house. You want to travel the world, but you're vibrating in that fear, in that lack, in that anxiety, in that worry, right? You're out of alignment. You are not vibrating at the right frequency to reach and attain those goals. It literally, energetically will not happen. Those opportunities won't happen. If they do, it'll take quite some time to get there. Right. So you really have to change your reality. You have to change your frequency and what you're vibrating at in order to be able to match and kind of achieve those goals. So
I love that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
No, it is pretty cool. It's so funny. The things that we were told by our parents as teenagers is actually true. My parents didn't use that exact language, but my dad definitely talked to me about my attitude and how you show up is reflective of how you feel and think on the inside. And so if you are scared of failure and you go to do something and that's what you're thinking about, guess what's going to happen? You're going to struggle through that task or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish because of the energy that you're bringing.
Yeah,
so I love that.
It's so true. And my dad did the same thing in a weird, twisted way, but I get what he was getting at, right?
Yeah.
He taught me how to show up to an interview, how to shake a hand, how to wear certain clothes, right? You need to make an impression.
Yeah.
And you need to, whether it's real confidence or fake, you got to fake it until you make it, right? Especially entering in a career. And so, but you start to believe that.
Yes.
Right. And that's important because, you know, he gave me that push that I never thought I had, and he got me there. Yeah. And so that, I think that's pretty telling that, you know, our parents, they were doing the right thing.
They were somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah.
And we're doing the same thing for our kids. Kind of trying to reprogram mine at the current moment, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It is cool.
Impact. Yeah.
Something that you said that I want to go back to about faking it till you make it. So I'm a big believer of that. And so let me just share with you my twisted way of thinking, and you can judge me offline. So I believe that if you are able to execute on the fake it till you make it, that means that your body and your mind already knows what to do. Because if not, you wouldn't be able to fake it. So really, to me, it's psyching out yourself by saying I'm faking it so that you can learn and see that your body actually knows what to do. And so I tell my kids that, I tell everybody that, just put it on, because your body will naturally, organically go that way. It's you that's not trusting you.
Yeah.
If you fake it, if you have the ability to fake something, that means you have the ability to do it in real life. And I have faked everything. I've been Claire Huxtable for, my whole entire career. Like that's all I ever wanted to be was Claire Huxtable. And so embodying that and looking at, I didn't have a model to follow for business for women as an example. So I really, really, I know that's silly, but I really looked at Claire Huxtable as like, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be sophisticated like Claire.
Yeah.
But that mixed with a little bit of Cardi B. But that, do you remember when we did karaoke?
Oh my gosh.
My God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember that.
Shout out to Cardi B. So, and we were in a corporate setting, screaming curse words into a microphone in a conference room. It was so great. It was so us.
It was so, but we brought the energy.
We
Like
brought
we
the
totally
energy.
shifted
We
that
did.
experience.
We did. We
Yeah,
did.
that was great.
They were so grateful for us.
They were.
I think I still have that video. Anyway, so I digress. But looking at models to follow and faking it got me here.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at a picture on my desk of my Target uniform when I worked at Target my senior year of high school. And even then there were situations I was in as a teenager that I had to fake and figure out. And all of that built me to be this strong force that you know today, because I knew from I knew the words to say, I knew the clothes to wear. I didn't have the confidence to execute, but I looked the part, so I became the part.
Exactly. But it goes back to the belief system, right? And it's like you're not faking it, you're just building the courage to do it. You know what I mean? And we all have it within us, and we just need that confidence, we need that courage, and we need to just do it in order to be successful. So we're not faking it, it's just like we just need to do it in order to see the results. Just do it. To build up that self-esteem, that confidence in what you're doing. Just do it. Shout out to Nike. That was a really good slogan in the 80s. So, okay. I really, really enjoyed our time. Is there anything else, any other hidden gems that we can share with the group to close us out? I would just say the importance of daily habits, right? To get yourself aligned with what you want. And it can be as little as making your bed, drinking enough water, setting goals, writing them down, figuring out what you're grateful for, and just being present. Yeah, I think I love that. Yeah, super, super helpful for me personally. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're helpful for everyone, whether you own a business, whether you want to transition from corporate America, whether you want to do a side gig, whether you just want to be happy, like keeping a good rhythm, dedicating yourself to what you believe you want to achieve, writing it down. I'm a big believer of writing it down. I have my whole wall is whiteboard paint. And so you can imagine it's graffiti everywhere. Like everything I need to keep me grounded on a regular basis is written on this. I love it. Journaling, writing things down. I have so many journals, so many books. I love it. And I think everybody needs to do that every single day. Yes. Absolutely. Completely agreed. Well, thank you, Stephanie Fox, for joining us on Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima. Top business tips. We appreciate you and hope to see you back soon. Thank you for figure out something to do together. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So thank you so much for listening. You guys have a good one. Until next time. Bye.